welcome back to another installment of Goosebumps Podcast, Can Be Murder. I'm your main host, Bumps in the Night, and tonight I'm joined by three co-hosts. I'm joined by Brandon Sime.
What's up?
I'm joined by an Otaku Life for Me, aka Josh.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
And tonight we have a new guest star with us. We have the Horrorlander.
Yo, people and patrons of the night. It is your boy, the Horrorlander. I'm a YouTuber that covers some Goosebumps content, horror media, also known as the Baby Mama Bandit, also known as the #1 tax evader, and I can say that I'm a proud member of the Goose Junkies podcast, which features some cool YouTubers such as Goosebumps Completionist, Ultimate Goosebumps Man, and other guest stars. So I'm quite excited to be with you guys tonight. Thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you here. So today we're covering one of the lesser enjoyed books in the series. This is book number 26, My Hairiest Adventure. Alright, so unfortunately, like I said, not one of the best books, but let's dive into it. So My Hairiest Adventure is centered around the main character, Larry Boyd, who is 12 years old. Nothing really interesting about Larry except that he's scared of dogs and he's in a band. Like, the book literally opens up to he is running away from a pack of dogs. So that's Goosebumpsy, I guess.
He is chill. He is chill like that.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's not actually
Listen, I got attacked by a dog as a kid as well, so I feel his pain.
I mean, what? Does Cujo scare you?
No.
I'm
the type of dog, but I'm not afraid of dogs, bro.
They're like sharks. If you punch them in the nose, they stop.
Yeah, why don't you punch them like boop them in their nose or something?
Don't boop. I'm talking square up fist. Anyway. Apparently, according to this is not the first time he's been chased by a pack. Oh my god. Is that what I think it is?
Yeah.
Is that the Grinch?
Yeah, it's the Grinch.
Alright, well, he's late to the party, but everyone, this is the Grinch. Alright. So, lucky you, Grinch, you caught us just as we started. We just said that Larry Boyd is our main character, and he's running from some doggos. Then they introduce Larry's best friend, Lily, who essentially, there's a bunch of other kids in this story, but I'm not going to waste my time with their names. They're not important. Lily is like the only other person I'm really going to talk about. Lily's defining features are that she wears a gold pirate coin necklace, and she has heterochromia, which, if you don't know what that is, she has a blue eye and a brown eye. This book has a really subplot where essentially these group of kids are gearing up for a battle of the bands. So they square up at Lily's house to do some band practice. Their band's called the Geeks. They're up against one other band. I think it was like Howie and the Shouters was the name of the band, I think. So after a couple hours of band practice, they decide to go outside and play in the snow. While building a snowman, Larry comes across a pile of trash next to a dumpster, and he just decides to dig through it, which, is that a little foreshadowing? Little dog play there?
Maybe.
Wow. He decides to be a trash digger and just digs through the trash, and he finds an old box that has an expired tube of suntan lotion. There we go. God. Choking on ghost sticks here, apparently. So he shows his friends, and I don't know about you guys, but if I had a friend who stopped to dig through the trash and then found something like this, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's cool. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, that'd be a statement, too. Why'd you dig through trash just to show us this?
Like, it may be like if you're like hitting up a GameStop or like a closed Spirit Halloween, but this was just trash on the street.
Yeah.
I don't know. One man's trash is another man's treasure, literally here. So he shows his friends. Nobody really questions it. They all decide they'd look like super awesome mega gods if they got tans before the Battle of the Bands, because I guess, you know, in the 90s, tanning was a real big thing, I guess. So more or less, they essentially all put it on except him. He kind of like pussies out, and they're like, "Yeah, no, don't be a bitch, Larry. Put this shit on." So he does, and then he gets all dizzy and sick, and he goes home, and his parents call their doctor because in the 90s they still made house calls. They didn't, but in the 90s they still made house calls. So what was his name? Dr. Merkin, which fantastic name, love that. Shows up, gives him a shot, and then says essentially he has weak sweat glands because he has some kind of diseased little child. So Larry has to see Dr. Merkin every 2 weeks for a shot, which God knows that is expensive. You gotta imagine how much that costs. The adverse effect of this shot is Larry starts growing hair. And then we go into this, it feels like a really...
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they found suntan lotion in an empty house that was abandoned.
No, you're thinking of the
They
episode.
tried on, even though it's expired.
You're thinking of the episode.
Somehow it has magical powers or whatever it's going to be later on, whatever it's going to show us. I know this is a Goosebumps world and it has its own logic and everything, but in the real world, all it would give you is just sticky skin half the time.
And Josh knows all about sticky skin.
And you might burn and blister in the sun if you actually tried to use it.
Well,
Yeah, that's about it.
my guess as an
It would be the
adult.
Goosebumps world without go-go gadget random bullshit. That's a go.
That's bullshit. That's true. That's true.
Very true. I'd say realistically, chemical burn at most. But yes, also Grinch, you're thinking of the episode. They find the suntan lotion in an abandoned house in the episode. In the book, he finds it in the trash like a dirty little raccoon. Long story short, this starts up this cycle, which is a very stupid one of, oh no, I'm hairy, I shave my hair. Something happens. Oh no, I'm hairy, I shave my hair. And we continually do this to the end of the book. But some structured plot points here are that as this goes on, one of the band members, Manny, not important at all, goes missing. So Lily and Larry go looking for him, and bada bing, bada boom, his house is completely empty. Like they just up and moved in the night. And then after they leave the house, they find a dog who resembles Manny. Weird. Then Larry has another Larry has another hair event. It's something at school or something where, like, essentially he grows hair back on his hands after being tripped. He freaks out. He goes and gets gloves, and then next thing you know, he's shaving his hands again. After that, Lily goes missing, and this time he sees a dog before he goes looking for her that looks like Lily. It's got the heterochroma eyes. It's got a gold coin necklace. And he's like, huh, sus.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he goes to see her parents, and they're like, there is no Lily. Get the fuck off my property. And he's like, ah, fuck, okay. So now...
I'm not even gonna lie, it's low-key kind of aggro just for a 12-year-old boy. Like, come on, bro.
Right? So then, you know, hey, screw it, gotta keep the subplot going. Battle of the Bands is here. Larry and the other two people who are still in the band go and perform. They don't play as good as Howie and the Shouters, but guess what? Larry goes full Wolfman on stage, gets all hairy, and essentially he freaks out. They win because the special effects, which, you know, Battle of the Bands, in my opinion, is music related, but whatever. From there, Larry rushes home when he looks like the Wolfman, and his parents are like, oh shit, we can't lie about this no more. Yeah, you're not a person, son. You're a dog. You got the dog in you. You're butter dog.
Dog with a butter.
Yeah, what a dog doing?
Butter dog.
Yeah. So Larry's like, oh fuck, I'm a meme. No. And they're like, yeah, also, your dog cancer's back and it's too expensive to fight, so have fun being a dog. And yeah, that's the big twist, that they were always dogs. And then we have the last little twist ending where it turns out Larry's cat was turned into a baby because Dr. Merkin's like, yo, fuck dogs, I'm on cats now, you know, he switched up. Fun side notes are that the dog from the episode is the dog in the intro. And personally, not a very strong plot. Not a lot happened. I think this was R.L. Stein's rip at Animorphs. He was like, you want to write about people turning into animals? Let me fucking get you, dog.
Let me cook real quick.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, dog.
I reread this book. I won't lie with you. I never finished it as a kid. I got about 75% through it, and I went, yeah, this sucks, and I dropped it. So actually finishing it, I went, wow, it's a book.
Big brain time.
It's like some of Stein's weakest writing too, because if you read the first part of it, there's scenes where he'll just keep repeating certain stuff. So like they have a snowball fight, then he finds the suntan lotion, and they have another snowball fight. And then in chapter 7, when he sees the hair on him, he cuts it off and he's like, oh my god, Lily's gonna call me Hairy Larry, I'll be embarrassed my entire life. And literally less than a page later, he repeats that exact same line. So it almost feels like it's written for a younger audience. I don't know if Stein was rushing, but usually his writing is not that repetitive.
Yeah, it's true.
I agree. I think he tried to make puberty scary, and I think that's the best he could do.
Yeah, I feel like he tried to make puberty scary, and then also, like you said, with the whole Animorphs thing, maybe he was just like, hey, let me get that paycheck real quick. I need that money.
Grinch, you had something to add? Go ahead.
Fun fact, I did finish the book, but the only reason why I remember this story is because JonTron actually made a video about old Goosebumps episodes, and he actually referenced the My Hairiest Adventure in a way. It made me laugh the whole time.
Oh, dude, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the JonTron Halloween specials? But let's talk about the good, the bad, and the hairy, starting with Grinch. What's one thing you liked about this book?
The ending in the book, it's a little bit more obvious than the ending in the episode, which we'll get to. But yeah, it's just I feel like the ending in here is a lot more obvious than the episode.
Okay, Brandon, what's one thing you liked about the book?
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. The fact that it ended.
Josh, what's one thing you liked about the book?
I don't want to pick it back up to Brandon, but I have one thing and the small thing. Okay, the one thing I like about the book, it had dogs in it, and I love dogs. And then the second small thing is that it ended.
The Horrorlander, what's one thing you liked about this book?
I actually like the twist ending in comparison to the rest of the book because the twist ending basically recontextualizes how you view the story, and that's more interesting than the rest of the boring subplot that they give you.
Yeah, for me, I do appreciate that there was foreshadowing. Now, granted, obviously, we all went in knowing what happened because we grew up years ago. But from the very beginning, you know, the dogs chasing him, him digging through the trash, like there was just subtle little hints. Now, I would have liked it more if this turned out to be like a werewolf thing, and he was the only one growing hair because he like had special genes that made him a werewolf. But whatever, it's okay. We can go the Animorph route, I guess. I do like that he was a dog always. It wasn't he was turning into a dog. Starting back to Grinch, what's one thing you didn't like about this book?
The whole, oh, we don't remember who this character is. Like, seriously, this is some Men in Black bullshit.
Josh, what's one thing you did not like about this book?
Honestly,
If you say the book, I will choke you.
just a story, I guess.
All right, Brandon, what's one thing you didn't like about this book?
Honestly, the whole, like, I guess, I don't know how I put it, but, like, I guess the pacing, because to me, when I read it, it was, like, very, like, kind of all over the place. Like, he was kind of, like, trying to rush through everything.
Orlander, what's one thing you did not like about this book?
To put it bluntly, if you were to go dumpster diving like Larry did, you'd probably find a copy of this book because the writing that Stein put into it is just bad, man. I mean, the way he's so repetitive, and Harry, Larry, and all the characters are very one-dimensional. It just feels like Stein kind of phoned it in. He's just like, I'm gonna make some random bullshit. It'll sell. Scholastic will sell it. And that's effectively pretty much like 90% of the book.
It definitely didn't feel like he knew where he wanted to go with it, and unfortunately I think it suffers from that. And the fact that it's not really a strong plot. My Hairiest Adventure, is it really his hairiest adventure? He was a fucking dog before. He was hairier at one point than now.
If you want to make puberty scary, you should have just had the subplot be that his browser history got leaked. Now that's some scary puberty.
There you go.
Well, here's the thing. The only reason why they wouldn't do that today, especially back then, is because, well,
P.
the
Diddy.
whitewashing that people were doing that, they're like, oh, think of the children. Like, even if they wanted to do it, they wouldn't be able to do it because it's scholastic, first of all, and second of all, the parents would be like, no, I'm not doing this to your own children.
Hold on now. There's a couple books where R.L. Stein gets a little too descriptive with his female teen girl characters. Just saying. We can revert back to...
Don't forget when Slappy said he'll give love taps to that main character in Bride Either.
Listen, I'm just going to jump in here and say, you must not remember be careful what you wish for. The weird, gross sleepover scene where she breaks into her room? Anyway, let's rate this bitch. Starting with Grinch, 1 through 10, what's your rating?
5.
Wow. Brandon, what would you rate this?
4.
Josh?
3.
We just counting down now? Horrorlander?
I'd give it a 4 out of 10. It's pretty bad, but not the worst Goosebumps book I've read.
I'm going to go with a 3 as well. Gives us a grand total of 19 divided by 5. 3.8, so we'll round that up to a 4. So this book scored a D. Oh no, that's an F. This book scored an F. Because it's so fucking hairy. Alright, so now we can talk about...
Who the real villain of the story is?
Oh, sure.
Episode?
It has been a while since we've done that. So Josh, since you brought this up, who do you think the true villain of this book was?
So I have a caveat. I have 2 true villains. 1, puberty itself. 2, chemical and unethical experimentation on animals.
Okay, that's deep. All right, Brandon, who's the true villain in your eyes?
The garbage man that left it on the ground.
Facts.
Public dumping, I see what you mean. Okay. Grinch, what's your thoughts on who the true villain was?
Probably the sunscreen or the doctor, to be honest, because the doctor's like, he's fine.
Okay, and Homelander, who do you think the true villain of this book was?
The true villain of the book is obviously PETA, because they're going to be coming after this town in no time.
Yeah, no, you got a point there.
Come after the book right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with the broad stroke of morbid curiosity or maybe weird science because the doctor didn't have to turn animals into people. He just did that because. So the essence of man once again becomes our folly. All right, let's talk about the episode and then tap this shit out. So Grinch, you seem to know a little bit about the episode. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the episode?
Well, the episode basically must have the same as the book. Basically, the whole episode is the same as the book, but towards the end, when when the main character runs into the house and it's, Mom, Dad, I'm growing hair.
There are some differences, primarily in they're in an abandoned house. They find the suntan lotion in an abandoned house. We get this awkward dinner scene where Larry goes to Lily's house. We also have that really awkward scene where he's like, "Are you growing hair in weird places?" He does that super awkward humming shit where he shaves his knuckles.
Yeah.
And yeah, more or less, but they do the doctor scene. They really kind of cut the Battle of the Bands out. They do have Manny disappear and Lily, so that stays true to the book. But the Battle of the Bands takes us like a backseat ride. As soon as Manny disappears, no one gives a fuck about the band. And then they don't have the outright reveal that Larry's a dog. They just like essentially cut to a golden retriever and he does a voiceover saying he's a dog.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to mean.
But they were more or less the same thing. Real talk, is it the worst episode? No, but it's pretty damn bad. And there are other books we could have gotten another episode for. Just saying.
Definitely.
Camp Jelly Jam deserved one, not this.
You know what? Honestly, hear me out. Just replace Teacher's Pet with Camp Jelly Jam. We would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Strained peas could go.
Fun fact about the My Hairiest Adventure episode, which is that the actor Larry, he's got really bad ADR, and the reason for that is because Amos Crowley, who plays Chuck from the Two Haunted Mask episodes, he actually voiceovered Larry because apparently they had audio issues where the actor was speaking too low. So that voice you hear in the episode is Amos Crowley, so not the actual guy who plays Larry.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Awesome.
I didn't either. That's actually really cool.
That's mostly why, in my opinion, this episode, to me, this episode is the worst just because, like, the ADR is bad, the acting's bad. It just seemed like they didn't really know what to do with it. And I think one thing they could have probably maximized on is the Battle of the Bands, even in the book, is not really utilized the best way. You could have done something where you implement that into the story better, and maybe because Larry's always getting embarrassed that he has this turning point where he's like, you know what? I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm going to perform on stage regardless. And next thing you know, everyone cheers for him. But they didn't do that. They kind of just took the lazier route.
Yeah. Let's rate the episode versus the book, and then we'll go into closing statements. Grinch, what would you rate this episode, 1 through 10?
6 at the least, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Josh, what would you rate this episode?
Honestly, a 5. It's not as bad as the book, and it's not as bad as Teacher's Pet episode. So it's worth a watch if you got nothing to do on a Friday afternoon.
You must not remember that keyboard solo. All right, Brandon, what would you rate this episode?
I give it a 6.
Jeez, God, everyone's so generous. All right, Horlander?
I give it a 2 out of 10, and I'm being generous because that scene where he goes into the garage and says, "The dog looks like my homie. He sounds like my homie," made me laugh for how bad it was. So,
okay.
Yeah, 2 out of 10.
I will say, like, the mom, dad, help me scene is, like, dented into my brain just because of how many times I heard it on the Hope channel as a kid. Like, that and I love fast food. Those, like, lines are just indented into my brain.
You were watching this on the hub?
The one is a good one. The Mom, Dad, Help Me sucks. And I only remember that one because of the Grindhouse things for Cartoon Network back in the day.
You also got that line where he goes, "Can a guy get some privacy?" Which gets caught enough.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I would give this episode a 4. So our score is total 23. If we divide that by 5, 4.6. Let's round it down to a 4.5. It scored half a point higher than the book. What a surprise. Again, it's garbage. Like, respectfully, as a retrospective, it's just garbage. It was a waste of a book. It was a waste of everyone's time. You know, you can polish a turd, but you shouldn't. So, with that, let's move into closing statements, starting with Brandon.
Interesting reread. I guess, I don't know. I really am kind of glad we're done with this one.
Okay. Josh, closing statements.
Like Brandon said, I'm glad we're done with this one. And if you start growing hair, maybe you're fucked for all we know.
You got that dog in you. All right, Grinch, closing statements.
If you find sunscreen in a trash can, don't use it.
The Horlander, closing statements.
R.L. Stein, do not hit the bong when Scholastic gives you a deadline. Take your time with books. We didn't need this.
He did a 20-second hold after ripping it. All right. This has been Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And if you guys enjoy this kind of content, make sure you go check out Goose Junkies. It's another podcast that covers the books in a little more in-depth touch than we do. With that being said, we appreciate your viewership. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click the buttons. And if you want to be part of the podcast, make sure you join the Discord down below. We do this every couple weekends. Thanks for watching and have a scary night.